Yeah, I've been Claude coding really hard. I'm not sure if I told you, but I fed Claude Code my entire genome.
No.
That was fun. So maybe not my whole genome, but my genotype test. Essentially, there are these tests out there that you could do, at least in Canada, where you spit into a little tube and then they send it off to some lab. And then, they basically tell you like what your genotype is. And there's something like 6,000 different little genes that they test for. And this detects things like, I don't know, whether you're going to go bald or like whether your skin ages faster than usual, like mostly pretty superficial stuff. But there is also like some pretty big disease detection as well. So it's like, do you have, I don't know, some super rare form of Huntington's disease and stuff? And like before you do the test, you need to like check all these boxes that basically say, hey, I figured this out. I'm not going to, want to jump off a bridge. So it's really, really interesting. And you can get this stuff for like 100 CAD, which is like 70 US dollars. A while back I did. The company was called 23andMe. Funnily enough, they went into bankruptcy and now they're selling all of our genomes.
Did you default on your 100 CAD payment, Nick? Is that what it like?
Yeah, I think I know why it's so cheap now. What do they say? If you're not spending a lot of money, you are the product or something like that. So I am the product.
Are you open source now, bro? You on GitHub? You're like genomes, like
dude, I GitHub open sourced my MIT license. Clone Nick anytime you want.
Yeah. I've got my Nick clones on my Claude Code scenarios. I like that, man.
But yeah, I fed it into Claude Code and I was just like, hey, can you tell me everything about me, basically, like from a biological basis? And I realized that like we all now have the ability to basically perform like genetic screening that otherwise would be worth like many, many thousands of dollars, probably tens of thousands of dollars, because I had it cross-reference like a bunch of open databases on genetics and then tell me like, hey, this little gene snippet, is this found anywhere on the internet? Are there any studies out there that talk about how this is like, I don't know, good for me, bad for me, whatever? And it went and it did it across like all 6,000. And I got like a super comprehensive like genetic assay done. And yeah, it was wild, dude. I found that I was like deficient in a bunch of things. I found that like I have these metabolic pathway issues that prevent me from producing a bunch of things that other people get. And I did that a couple weeks ago. And then I was just like, okay, cool. How do I fix all this?
Yeah.
Code fixed me.
Yeah. Damn,
and it fixed me. It gave me a big list of supplements. And I started taking the supplements without even like thinking twice, to be honest, which maybe is not the best move. But I said, fuck it, we'll figure it out. And my sleep has been incredible for the last like 13 days. Ever since I got back from my trip, for the first time in my life, I've been averaging between 93% to 100% on my little Whoop sleep score. And on average before I was doing 80. And I was like, why the fuck is this happening? And it's because the supplement fixes this like metabolic issue that I had, which I didn't even realize that I had.
Whoa.
Which is insane, dude. It's like personalized healthcare. So that's really
nuts. That is a crazy, dude. I love that. Especially like you get all this stuff in individual knowledge bases. You get like blood tests. It's got infinite context on that. Like the level of personalization now you can get from that is ridiculous. Yeah, because we literally, I'm not joking, 2 hours ago had this conversation that like in the UK, for example, the purpose of the healthcare system is to keep you surviving, not thriving. So for example, if you have like a blood test, it says your vitamin, like, D, you're chronically on the index in vitamin D. They'll be like, yeah, it is what it is. Like no one's got vitamin D in the UK, but it's like we're at the point now where you can take ownership and drive your healthcare on a level that we've never seen before. Like Elon Musk was chatting about whether it's worth becoming a doctor now and stuff with these like AI robotics and stuff. But I think before we get this utopian healthcare, there's the period of high agency usership, which is what we're in right now, which is people like you doing these incredibly detailed genetic screenings, open sourcing your genome, doing the tests and kind of like directing it. I mean, I think I'm gonna do that, bro. The other thing I want to do is blood tests as well. I want to do the full comprehensive blood screening panel. I think in Dubai they'll actually send someone out to your house, Nick. They'll rock up and take it. You don't even need to leave the door, mate. They'll just show up and do it. So, the little blood banks. I mean, I'm sure it's all decent, but I think it's cool. I think that's really cool, dude. Was it anything like really surprising in the data that you were like, wow, that was, because you can, I guess if also having kids, there's like, from biology, I haven't done biology since A level, but there are certain things where like, if you've got like the blue bit and they've got the red bit and they come together, you kind of like infinity gauntlet snap type of thing. So you can do it with your girlfriend.
Yeah. I did find out that I was a carrier for a pretty terrible disease called cystic fibrosis. And if I have kids with a woman who is also a carrier for cystic fibrosis, then there's a pretty high chance that, our kid would end up having cystic fibrosis themselves, which is not a death sentence these days. But interestingly enough, just a few years ago, it was. Kids would like drown in the fluid buildup in their lungs and then die typically before the age of 10. So that was, not good, but I'm glad that I found that out. I also found out that I have a bunch of lung issues, which I think just explains some weird symptoms I've had my whole life. Like if I go for a really long run, I just start tasting blood, and it's like, oh, that's kind of weird. Wonder where that came from. And it's just because, I have like this tissue that sort of sloughs off a little bit faster. So, if you're the sort of person that obsesses over this stuff and like thinks about it a ton, I could see how this might actually not be a good thing to do, because you'll just be in your head all day long thinking about like, oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? Like, yeah, like there is such a thing as like over communicating, this information. But in my case, I'm pretty chill about it all. So it's been quite positive to know. And then I found out that I don't have Alzheimer's. That's great.
That's
I don't have the
fantastic.
ApoE4
Let's
gene,
go.
which, basically like doesn't guarantee you have Alzheimer's, but it's like the prerequisite.
I think that's really freaking cool, dude. I mean, maybe it's like because like the Nick is like maxing out in so many categories. We had to nerf him a little bit. We had to give him a couple of random things up there, dude.
They nerfed me. They nerfed me, bro.
You
The
gotta nerf your
handicap
lungs, dude.
patch update.
Dude, you were like, remember, like you were gonna be like the world's fastest runner. It's like, no, we gotta nerf him, man. We gotta take him down. Like, but it's funny. Like a lot of people just don't know. Like, I think knowledge is power in these cases. Like to know, what to avoid. These kind of like combinations. I think it's cool. I'm gonna write them down as an action. Dude, I've got actions from this. I'm gonna go and check that out. I think that's really freaking cool to do.
Yeah, I'd be really interested in hearing your gene makeup, because you'll figure out like your fast twitch versus slow twitch muscle
that's gonna be
fibers. Like
fascinating. Well, dude, when I had like a flu at the beginning of the year, what was interesting to me is I had my blood results and immediately just like chatting with ChatGPT about what do these mean, what does that mean. But I find that it kind of gives you the tools to have conversations with doctors to ask the right questions, to be like, well, why is this instead of this? Whereas before you were kind of like trusting in the system, and you have this spectrum of competence, don't you, across any profession. And like one of my buddies who was at university doctor, and like he said, dude, the things I saw in some of the GP offices, dude, like you wouldn't even believe. And it kind of stands to reason, right? Like you have like your top performers and your kind of like guys that just passed, I don't know, the medical exam 30 years ago and just aren't really that interested. So it's cool that you're weaponized now with knowledge, and you can ask those kinds of questions.
Yeah, definitely. And the issue with certifications like that are broad is there's just no way to tranche them, right? To like have different groups, as you were mentioning. So, the worst doctor is still a doctor.
I'm a stickler for this, dude. When Dexter, my springer spinal, had a surgery, I said, like, dude, who's the best surgeon in this practice? I said, I only want the best. I said, I have to ask. It's my dog. Like, I don't want no kind of junior come lucky, with a scalpel, like doing what he needs to do. I said, we need the premium talent on this. And he's like, dude,
House MD shows up.
Dude, yeah, just some freaking like, yeah. I want him to have a limp. I want him to have a little bit of character. You know what I mean? I want him to be a bit of a renegade, someone who thinks outside the box. That's what I need. So I literally kind of said, like, I need to speak to this guy before we go ahead and have a conversation. So it was funny. So I did do a bit of research to make sure that it was the right levels. But they get it. I was like, dude, it's my dog, dude. I need to make sure we got the right guy. I said, they say you're the best. Is that true? He's like, well, I always da, 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 da. When you ask the nurse, like, are they the best surgeon in this practice? If it's anything other than yes, if they're like, well, we have many surgeons, and the surgeons, it's like, okay, this is not the guy. I want to go like this. I said, cancel it. We got to go somewhere else. We need somewhere else. Dude, I heard of an example of someone doing a kidney stone removal from like watching a tutorial on YouTube.
What?
It didn't work.
Like a paid medical professional doing this on somebody else?
No, a non-paid medical
self.
It was somebody in some countries, I think it was in India potentially, who'd like in some local village who just like, I think they pretended they were a doctor or something, and they just performed it from a YouTube tutorial.
That's actually kind of inspiring.
It is. If it works. It didn't work, unfortunately.
Fake it till you make it.
How bad, dude? Who's doing freaking kidney stone removal tutorials, dude? Like, maybe that's where we move into. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
that's the niche, man.
This is YouTube's most comprehensive kidney stone removal masterclass that you're ever going to see. And I'm going to take you from never touching a scalpel to full kidney stone removal by the end of this video.
In 15 minutes.
It's like in 15 minutes, like 8 hours, and like decks and stuff. But could that be done? I think I don't know. Like, if you had 8 hours, could you take a competent, non-medically inclined professional to complete it?
Hypothetically speaking, assuming that it was like a very low variant surgery, yes, because it is just a sequence of steps that occurs similarly every single time, right? If there is anything not in the video, you're absolutely fucked. But, pardon my French here. But if it's just like following the same thing, I mean, what is it? It's like motor skill, right? Over the course of an 8 hour or so period of time, you could absolutely learn how to stitch some silly thing back together. You would just pause frame by frame, advance one frame, advance another, right? And just like do the stitch and do everything.
Dude, under that video, there's a comment that says patient profusely bleeding, what to do? Like kind of like underneath there, like join her live community to figure it out as you go along.
2 weeks later.
Yeah, like how is patient, blah, 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 blah. That's freaking hilarious. But I love that there are tutorials on pretty much anything now. You can just go ahead and learn that stuff. Makes me chuckle. Dude, did you see the whole, on the AI side with Grok, like the bikinification of X?
I've heard of the bikinification of society, yes.
Yeah, I thought that was freaking, I actually kind of like that Grok is running amok and going a bit wild on X. I think it's kind of cool.
Grok amok. I mean, hey, yeah, there's a certain poetic license to that.
I think it's dope. I think because like X is definitely like Grok is. It's interesting, isn't it? Because like Grok and X are kind of becoming the same thing. Like when you say X, you think Grok now to some extent, and vice versa. And it's like, the mission statement for X is we want to be the ultimate truth-seeking AI, which I think is really freaking cool. But even if that wasn't the case, the fact that you've stated it as your intended objective does have the same effect. It's like saying, I want to be the maximal truth-seeking X, whatever the thing is. Like, even if you're not, like the fact that you're positioning yourself as that is unique enough that people will associate you with the truth platform. Just from a position point of view, which I think is super interesting.